Hey guys, and thanks for watching Planting Paradise. Today I am going to be repotting my Syngonium Albo that I got about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It arrived in the mail in not the greatest condition, so I'll put a little video up of when I unpacked it. It was cold. The heat pack had dried out the moss, so I lost all the roots. There were no viable roots. And I stuck it in moss, just damp moss, and just put it under a grow light, had a little bit of a humidifier box built for it, and on top of a heat mat. And in 3 weeks, we are doing really great. I have a really good root system now, and that mark there was actually taken about 3 or 4 days ago. So you can see that since it has developed roots, it has really been growing very quickly. So today I decided I was going to go ahead and just pot it up in a mix, well draining mix, so that I can just help it along its journey. So we're just going to pop out And with moss, you just want to be really careful because the roots tend to grow and intertwine with the plant and with the moss. So you just want to make sure you're not accidentally pulling out roots as you're teasing it out. Wow, guys, look at that. The reason I wanted to do the repotting a little earlier was because I did not know how much roots it had grown, and also I didn't want it to get entangled in the moss to the point where I would be ripping out roots when I go to repot it. So I tend to like to repot it around 2 to 4 inches once the roots have reached 2 to 4, and this is about 3. You can see that it's definitely starting to get a little tangled here. All right, now I have her completely untangled. I loved this kind of dark green white appearance, which is why I really wanted to grab one of these. You can see these were actually the true roots, air roots, that I had to cut off because they were completely dry. It looks like there was a little bit of risk of rot here, that darker area there, but that clear demarcation line shows that the plant has done a really good job of kind of fending it off for herself. And then we have this one root here. I'm not going to bother taking off all of the sphagnum. I don't want to mess with the fine roots any longer. I just want to kind of pop her into her new environment. In hindsight, I'd probably leave her in there for a little bit longer, but she actually had a little bit of mold in her container, so I wanted to be on the safe side and just take her out. So, all right, let's go ahead and get her in our mix. So what we have here is actually a little bit of compost mixed in with a lot of peat and perlite, because this type of plant really loves that well-draining rich soil. And then I also have a lot of orchid mix here, orchid bark, to make sure that it remains chunky and well aerated. I love to just fill the container. Oh, I've got my my soldering holes at the bottom here for good drainage. But because they're a little larger, I always like to fill it with the chunky mix first to make sure that nothing kind of falls through. And then I'll pour a little bit of this premix in. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of layer it and mix it up here. Okay. All right, we're about ready for a baby, so I'm gonna grab her. She's a little taller than I thought she was. I'm gonna go ahead and pour some of that out. Or, a little trick I also like to use is I tilt, and then I can place the root right on the edge there. Okay, good. Okay, and then I just shake her up and backfill her. I apologize for the setup. It's not my normal setup since we're indoors. So I've potted her up in that chunky mix here, and I actually topped her off with some orchid bark on top just for aesthetics, because I prefer to see that versus the perlite, which always turns slightly yucky brown color. So I'm not a big fan of that. I just top it with bark because I like how it looks. I am going to create a humidity chamber for her, so I'm going to show you how I do it. You don't want the plastic touching the leaves at all, because that is a good way to ensure that the moisture remains and that she is going to get hurt. She's a little bit of a funny shape, so she kind of sticks out over here, if you can tell on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold the bottom here. Sorry, it's a little wet down here. I'm gonna fold the bottom over and pull the top up. And I'm gonna slide her up a little bit. Okay, and I'm just holding her here. Okay, and I just popped her in another cup. And this is just gonna help me hold all the plastic down. Ideally, I would blow into it, but that's hard to videotape. But you can see that I have managed to put her in there without any of her leaves touching any of the plastic. So this is her humidity chamber while she adjusts. In about a week or so, I'm gonna make sure that I slowly adjust her to a little bit less humidity, because I have her at about 80%, 60 to 80% humidity usually, and just a lot of adjustments. So I try to only do one adjustment at a time, and obviously I just repotted her. All right, so final product. Hey guys, so it's been about a month since I last repotted the Syngonium Albo from the moss that I propagated it into the Aroid mix that I had, and I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like now. Obviously, it has grown a full new leaf here, and it's actually got a baby one coming in as well. I just wanted to show you guys right there. And it's doing really well as far as the root system goes. You can see tons of roots there on the bottom. And I actually have to repot it because it is escaping down the bottom here. So I definitely think that the plant has adjusted really well to this new soil, and I look forward to it really hitting its growing season when spring and summer comes. But that's it. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, please do drop a line. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.